Arab millionaire Omar al-Hassan sat motionless in his Italian leather armchair pretending to doze. In reality, his half-closed eyes were fixed on the wide-open safe across the office. Inside, $200,000 in neatly arranged bills gleamed under the chandelier's soft glow. More money than most people would see in their entire lifetimes. It was 11 p.m. on a Tuesday night, and Omar was conducting a cruel but necessary experiment. His heart had been broken weeks earlier when he discovered that his best friend and business partner, David Chun, had stolen $8 million from their Dubai-based investment company. Money that was supposed to build schools in Lebanon and fund hospitals. In war-torn Syria vanished into David's secret accounts. Omar, worth over $400 million, had faced betrayal before. But this one shook him to his core. 15 years of trust destroyed in a single revelation. That night, with the safe deliberately left open, Omar whispered the words of his financial advisor, Thomas Mitchell. "Poor people always steal when given the chance." Omar clenched his jaw. Let's see if Thomas was right. At their hour, Kesha Williams, 34, entered the mansion with her 9-year-old twins, Zoe and Marcus. For 3 years, the family had worked the night shift, cleaning silently so as not to disturb. Omar's late-night investor calls with the Middle East. Tonight seemed no different except for the open fortune on the table. "Mom? Why is there so much money in the safe?" Zoe whispered, her wide eyes glued to the shimmering stacks. "He must have forgotten to close it after counting." Kesha replied, her voice steady though her pulse quickened. "Don't stare too much, sweetheart. Focus on helping me." Omar watched from the shadows, his breath shallow. Marcus, the more observant of the twins, edged closer to the table. His small hands trembled, not with greed, but with nervous awe. "Zoe, look!" Some bills fell on the floor. This was the moment Omar had been waiting for. Would they pocket even a single bill? But what happened next left him speechless. Marcus carefully bent down and gathered the scattered hundreds. With the seriousness of a banker, he began sorting, then back into stacks by denomination. "Zoe, come help me. Mr. Omar's money is messy. Let's fix it like Mom showed us when we count coins at home." Zoe joined him, her small fingers delicately aligning each bill until the stacks were perfect. She smiled proudly. "There, now it looks just like in the movies where rich people have safes." Keisha, noticing her children near the table, rushed over, alarmed. "Kids, what are you doing? You can't touch Mr. Omar's things." "Mom, calm down," Marcus said gently. "We didn't take anything. We just wanted to tidy it. Some bills fell, so we fixed them." "Yes, Mom," Zoe added. Quickly. "You always say we should take care of other people's things better than our own." Omar's chest tightened. His throat burned with unexpected emotion. These children who lived in a cramped one-bedroom apartment and shared a mattress on. The floor had been placed face-to-face with a fortune, and their first instinct wasn't theft. It was care, respect, honesty. "You did the right thing," Kesha whispered, hugging her children close. "Now let's get back to work and let Mr. Omar rest." But Omar wasn't resting. Behind his heavy eyelids, tears threatened to fall. For the first time in weeks, he felt a fragile thread of hope return. Maybe humanity wasn't as rotten as David Chun had made him believe. In the weeks that followed, Omar found himself inventing excuses to stay home at night. He wanted to observe the Williams family more closely. What he saw humbled him. Kesha arriving exactly at 11 p.m. every night, never late, even when she was clearly sick. One evening, she worked with a high fever, pausing only to swallow cheap painkillers she had brought from home before continuing her tasks. Marcus and Zoe quietly helping her dust, polish, and mop, never complaining. Sometimes even giggling as they turned chores into little games. The family worked together like a single heartbeat, poor, exhausted but full of dignity. For Omar, their honesty in the face of temptation became a mirror reflecting his own life. He, a man surrounded by luxury, had been betrayed by the wealthy. Yet here was a family with almost nothing, showing loyalty and honor he had not seen in decades. What began as a test of honesty was slowly becoming something else entirely, a chance for redemption, not just for Omar's broken faith, but perhaps for the Williams family's future. And deep down, Omar knew one truth. This small act of childish honesty was about to expose far more than character. It would unravel a web of betrayal and transform the lives of everyone involved forever. Asterisk. When Zoe noticed her mother pale and sweating from exhaustion, she tugged gently on her sleeve. "Mom, can we go home early tonight? You're not feeling well." Keisha smiled faintly, though her body ached. "No, baby. We promised Mr. Omar we'd take care of his house. Our word is worth more than our pain." To her, keeping promises was sacred, something she was determined to pass down to her children. The twins had transformed night work into something extraordinary. Marcus, disciplined and curious, organized Omar's vast library alphabetically. As he stacked the heavy volumes, he read aloud complex titles on international economics, helping his mother memorize them. Zoe, more playful, turned chores into math lessons. She counted decorative objects, arranged vases by size, and even calculated the area of each room with chalk and notebook paper. "Mom, there are 47 business books on the shelf, 23. About the financial market," Zoe announced proudly, "and the room is 240 square meters," Marcus added. "I measured it the way we learned in math class." Kesha laughed softly, marveling at their ingenuity. "See, even work can be school if you open your eyes." What they didn't know was that Omar was silently witnessing everything. His mansion had been fitted with a high-tech surveillance system after David Chun's betrayal. But now, instead of guarding against thieves, he was using it to study the Williams family, a family that defied every cynical belief he had held about poverty and desperation. Each night, Omar replayed clips, documenting their conversations, their discipline, their innocence. And when the weight of his obsession began to trouble him, he turned to Dr. Elizabeth Carter, an old friend from his UCLA days and now a respected child psychologist. Over lunch one Friday, Liz narrowed her eyes at him. "Omar, you're obsessed. With this family, it's worrying." He set down his glass of sparkling water. "Why, Liz? These kids taught me more about integrity in 3 weeks than I learned in 15 years of negotiating million-dollar contracts. They turned cleaning into education. They turned responsibility into joy. And what do you intend to do with this obsession?" She pressed. Omar hesitated, his expression unreadable. "I don't know yet, but I know one thing: I cannot let a family like this struggle in silence." One night, pretending to fall asleep in his armchair, Omar overheard a hushed exchange that tore at his heart. "Marcus, do you think we'll be able to go to college?" Zoe whispered as she stacked. "Omar's books, I don't know," Marcus admitted. "Mom says it's too expensive, but she's been saving money in a coffee can since we were little. She works 3 jobs just so she can put aside $50 a month when she has extra." Omar did the math in his head. $50 a month, 2 children, college tuition. It would take 80 years. His stomach churned. "Even if we can't go, we'll work hard and help Mom," Marcus continued, his voice calm and steady. "She deserves to rest someday." "I want to buy Mom a house," Zoe added dreamily, "with a garden so she can plant flowers. She always wanted that." Omar pressed his lips together, fighting the sting in his eyes. Through fragments of conversation, he also pieced together their past. Keisha's husband, James Williams, had died in a construction accident when the twins were just 5. No insurance. No family support? From then on, she worked 16-hour days, commercial cleaning in the morning, doctor's offices in the afternoon, and Omar's mansion at night. "Mom, why don't you accept help from the government? Or charities?" Zoe asked one Thursday while vacuuming the carpet. Kesha didn't even pause. "Because our dignity isn't for sale, baby girl. We work for what we have. We don't ask for what we don't deserve. Self-respect is worth more than easy money." Omar's chest tightened again. This woman, exhausted, widowed, barely surviving, was raising children with more strength and values than most billionaires he knew. But not everyone saw what Omar saw. Thomas Mitchell, his 52-year-old financial advisor, began pressing harder during meetings. "Omar, you're paying far too much for these cleaning staff. People like that. They get used to generosity. Then they start demanding more. They've been loyal for 3 years, Omar replied evenly. Exceptional, Thomas scoffed. Exceptional. Omar, you need to understand, give poor people too much and they'll want benefits, raises, maybe even steal. And bringing children into the workplace? It shows a lack of proper family structure. The disdain in his tone made Omar's fists tighten. David Chun, Harvard-educated, dressed in a $5,000 suit, had stolen $8 million. Yet here Thomas was, slandering a widow who scrubbed floors with her children by her side. Interesting that you mentioned theft, Thomas, considering my recent experience, Omar said icily, but Thomas only smirked. That's exactly my point. You can't trust desperate people. That night, Omar decided to test not the Williams family, but Thomas himself. He prepared an office table with confidential documents on a $50 million investment deal. Alongside them, he left a flash drive containing files worth millions if leaked to competitors. On Friday evening, Thomas arrived, claiming he needed to review urgent contracts. Omar leaned back in his chair, feigning sleep. While the hidden cameras recorded everything, what he saw made his stomach turn. Thomas glanced around, then snapped photo after photo of the documents with his phone. He pocketed the flash drive and copied the data onto his own device, his eyes darting nervously. When he was done, he noticed Kesha working upstairs. And with that single glance, Omar realized the true danger wasn't in poor families struggling to survive. It was in men like Thomas, entitled, arrogant, already rich, yet still willing to betray trust for more. Perfect opportunity, Thomas muttered under his breath as he ascended the marble staircase. Omar, watching through the hidden cameras, felt his chest tighten. His advisor, someone he had trusted with multi-million-dollar accounts, was now moving toward the one person in his home who least deserved to be harmed. Keisha was dusting the master bedroom, her hair tied back, humming softly despite the exhaustion on her face. She turned when she heard footsteps. Mr. Mitchell? I thought you had left. Thomas forced a smile. Keisha, can I talk to you? Of course, she said cautiously, setting down her rag. Thomas lowered his voice. I'll be blunt. I know Omar pays you well, but I can offer you triple that amount. All I need is information. Business calls, meetings, documents he leaves lying around. Nothing dangerous, just details. Keisha froze, then slowly her face hardened. Mr. Mitchell, are you asking me to spy on my employer? I'm offering you an opportunity to make real money, Thomas pressed, leaning closer. A woman in your position can't afford to be too noble. Her voice sharpened. You're wrong about the kind of woman I am. Thomas chuckled cruelly. Keisha, stop pretending to have dignity. People like you always have a price. Tell me, what's yours? Keisha's jaw clenched. She turned back to her cleaning. You should leave, Mr. Mitchell. But Thomas wasn't done. His tone darkened. Your children are smart, Keisha, too smart. It would be a shame if something happened to them. Accidents do happen. Kids get curious. They end up in the wrong place, overhearing the wrong thing. Sometimes they don't make it home. Omar gripped the armrests of his chair, rage boiling in his chest. He had expected corruption. He hadn't expected veiled threats against 9-year-old children. Just then, Zoe appeared in the hallway, clutching her small stomach. Mom, Marcus isn't feeling good? Thomas turned sharply, his eyes cold. Your children should be at home, not disturbing adults at work. They're not disturbing anyone, Keisha snapped, pulling Zoe close. Thomas smirked. Not yet, but children grow up. They start asking questions. They start interfering. Omar could take no more. His decision was made the following Monday. He set his trap. Thomas arrived at Omar's office expecting a private meeting. Instead, the room was filled with strangers. Omar rose calmly. Thomas, let me introduce you to some people. This is Federal Agent Robert Stone, specializing in corporate espionage. This is Prosecutor Lisa Jang, who handles extortion cases. And these are reporters from the Wall Street Journal investigating insider trading. Thomas blinked rapidly, color draining from his face. Omar, what is this? I'm giving you the opportunity, Omar said coldly, to explain why you photographed my confidential documents and tried to bribe my employee. On the large screen, the recording played. Thomas's own voice filled the room. I know. Omar pays you well, but I can offer you triple that if you tell me about the business he discusses at home. This is a setup, Thomas shouted, panic rising. Setup? Agent Stone leaned forward. So you deny copying these files? He produced screenshots of the metadata taken from Thomas's flash. Drive proof of digital theft. Prosecutor Jang crossed her arms. And do you deny threatening 2 9-year-old children? Because we have audio of that too, Thomas's bravado crumbled. He stammered, Omar, we've known each other for years. Let's settle this privately. I can share information about other clients, things you'd want to know. Omar's eyes turned to steel. Now you want to sell out other clients too? Thomas, I'm not negotiating with you. I'm handing you to the authorities. At that moment, Kesha and the twins arrived for their night shift. They stopped in surprise when Omar himself came down the grand staircase to greet them, Mr. Omar? Kesha asked. I didn't know you'd be working late. I need to speak with you and the children, Omar said warmly. It's important. In the living room, away from the chaos of the office, Omar sat with them. Do you know, he began gently, that you are special people? Marcus and Zoe exchanged puzzled looks. Why, Mr. Omar? Zoe asked. Because for 3 years, you've been surrounded by valuables, and not once have you taken a thing. More than that, you've protected and respected what wasn't yours. And when someone tried to bribe your mother to betray me, she refused instantly. Kesha's eyes widened. Someone tried to bribe me? Omar nodded gravely. Thomas Mitchell. He offered you triple your pay to spy on me. And when you refused, he threatened you and your children. Zoe's small voice trembled. That bad man who talked to me last week? Yes, baby girl, Omar said softly, but you'll never see him again. From the office came the sound of raised voices and heavy footsteps. Thomas was being led out in handcuffs, cursing, Omar. He screamed as agents pushed him toward a waiting car. You'll regret this. My family has power. But his words fell flat against the flashing red and blue lights. A man who once advised. Billionaires now faced up to 15 years in federal prison for espionage and extortion. 8 months later, the Williams family's life looked nothing like before. Kesha sat in Omar's office not as a cleaner, but as the new director of human resources with a salary of $180,000 a year. Mr. Omar, I don't have a degree, she had protested at first. Kesha, he replied smiling. You have something worth more. Absolute integrity, the ability to see character in people. That is exactly what I need to rebuild this company. Her children thrived, 2 enrolled in the best schools in Los Angeles, their education fully funded. For the first time, Kesha began looking at houses with gardens. The kind she used to only dream about, and as Omar watched them grow, he knew one thing for certain, the night he left his safe open. Searching for honesty, he hadn't just discovered integrity. He had discovered a family that reminded him humanity was still worth believing in. Marcus and Zoe, now both 10 years old, attended Westside Preparatory Academy, one of the most prestigious private schools in Los Angeles. For 2 children who once worried whether their mother could pay the rent on time, sitting among the sons. And daughters of doctors, executives, and celebrities felt like stepping into another world. One evening, while the family gathered around the dinner table in their new 4-bedroom house Omar had bought for them, Marcus leaned forward, his eyes shining with pride. Mom, he said, our essays on business ethics were the best in the class. Zoe, never one to be left behind, chimed in. We wrote about how honest people always win in the end. Their mother, Kesha, placed her hand over her children's and smiled with quiet gratitude. For her, these were not just words on paper. This was proof that her children were growing up with the values she had fought so hard to protect. Meanwhile, justice had taken its course for those who once tried to destroy Omar and his allies. Thomas Mitchell, once a powerful consultant feared in corporate circles, now sat behind prison walls, serving a 12-year sentence for corporate espionage, attempted extortion, and threats against minors. His empire had crumbled. His consulting firm had gone bankrupt. His wife had filed for divorce, and even his own adult children had cut ties, refusing to visit him. He lost absolutely everything, Agent Stone reported during a follow-up call. With Omar, and what about David Chun? Omar asked, thinking of his former partner who betrayed him. Sentenced to 15 years, Stone replied. And the $8 million he stole? Fully recovered. Donated to the very charities he tried to sabotage. Poor Omar, this wasn't just a legal victory, it was a moral one. He had proven that greed may win in the short term, but in the long run, truth and integrity always stand taller. Under Omar's leadership, his firm became a national benchmark for ethical business practices. He introduced the Williams Protocol, a groundbreaking system that allowed employees at any level to report irregularities directly to the president without fear of retaliation. During one executive meeting, Omar stood proudly before his team. "We received 47 complaints this month through the protocol," he announced. "We discovered 3 cases of racial discrimination and 2 of sexual harassment. All were addressed and resolved internally. Excellent work, everyone. The environment is really changing." Dr. Carter, now serving as the company's psychological consultant, confirmed the progress. "Omar, since Kesha took over HR, turnover has dropped by 60%. Employees feel they finally have a voice." Years passed and the transformation continued. 2 years after the famous SAFE test, Omar was in his office when Zoe, now 12, appeared. After school, she stood hesitantly at his door. "Mr. Omar, can I ask you a serious question?" "Of course, Zoe." "Why did you help us so much? We were just a family of cleaners." Omar knelt so he was eye level with her. "Zoe, you taught me something I could never learn in a boardroom. You and Marcus showed me that honesty is the rarest commodity in the world. When I saw you organizing my money instead of taking even $1, I knew I had found something more valuable than gold." "But Mom always said we should take care of other people's things," Zoe replied. "Exactly," Omar said gently. "You did it naturally without expecting anything in return. That's what proved to me that good people still exist." At that moment, Marcus appeared in the doorway. "Mr. Omar, when we grow up, we want to work with you. We want to help other families like ours." Omar placed a hand on the boy's shoulder. "I'll be waiting for you, but first, finish your studies. I want you to have every opportunity you deserve." Not long after, Omar received a letter from prison. It was from Thomas Mitchell. His handwriting was shaky, his tone unrecognizable. "From the arrogant man Omar once knew. You had something I never had," Thomas wrote. "Loyalty from people who truly cared. I destroyed that out of pure envy. Please, forgive me. I lost everything because of my own malice." Omar showed the letter to Keisha. She read it silently, then folded it. "Forgiveness is between him and God," she said firmly. "Our part was just to prove that honest people exist." "Mission accomplished," Omar replied. 3 years after the SAFE test, Al Hassan Investments had become the most respected investment firm on the West Coast. Omar established a $100 million scholarship fund exclusively for the children of cleaning and maintenance workers. He called it the Integrity Fund, a tribute to Marcus and Zoe's lesson. At the scholarship launch, Zoe tugged on his sleeve. "Papa Omar," she said softly, "can I tell my friends at school how you saved our family?" Omar looked at her with warmth. "Zoe, your family saved me first. You taught me that true wealth isn't money or power. It's the people we choose to love and protect. The best revenge is not destroying those who betray us, it's building something so powerful and good that it overshadows all the evil around it." Thomas and David had tried to manipulate others with their greed and lies, but in the end they destroyed themselves. Omar, on the other hand, gained something priceless, a family who genuinely loved him, and Kesha reminded everyone of the most important truth: dignity cannot be sold. Honest work builds character, and raising children with the right values is the greatest investment anyone can ever make. Sometimes the greatest lessons don't come from business schools or million-dollar seminars. Sometimes they come from the honesty of 2 children who refused to take what wasn't theirs. If this story of honesty, transformation, and justice touched your heart, Don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs hope. Subscribe to this channel for more true stories that prove one thing: no matter how dark the world seems, doing good always pays off. If you believe honesty still matters, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and share this video with friends and family. Let's spread the message together that good people still exist and goodness always wins.